Hi everyone, I'm here today with a friend of mine, Will, who's got quite a bit of experience traveling in China. Hi Will, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you, Ben?
Pretty good. So Will, why don't you share with our audience a little bit about your experience traveling in China?
Sure. About a few years ago, I started traveling to China. Met my girlfriend there, and I've been throughout all over China, Xinjiang, the north, the south, pretty much everywhere, and I've really grown to love it. Just traveling for fun. Originally, I kind of went there for education purposes, to teach eventually. But then once I found my girlfriend become wife, I just started to visit all over China for vacation purposes.
And so just for our viewers, some people who may be thinking about going on a trip to China, what are some things that Westerners should watch out for when visiting China?
I think the biggest thing they have to watch out for is, well, first thing, you got to watch out for like scams and things like that, because I think when Westerners do go over to China, they kind of are very gullible at first because they think that, and people are very nice for sure, but there's just lots of scams you got to watch out for. Like I've talked before about beggars too, and you might feel like, especially in China, lots of kids might come up to you in certain cities and you want to give money to them, but a lot of times they're a part of kind of like, I wouldn't call it a gang, but a little group where they have somebody who watches over them, and the money that you give to the kid is really going to somebody else. So I would say that's something you definitely got to watch out for, is scams. And let's see, what else would you watch out for?
What about like eating and drinking?
Oh yeah. I mean, I always say that whenever I go to China, I always come back sick, or I get sick, because I don't know if it's just I have a weak immune system, but I find that a lot of people who go to mainland China, especially towards, the further in you get, the more likely that sanitary conditions are pretty low. And as I always say, if the government says that the water is not safe to drink, then you can assume that it's extremely not safe to drink. And that's why a lot of people drink bottled water and things like that.
And, is there anything else people should watch out for?
Other things to watch out for would probably be just little things that we assume, I guess, in the U.S. that, people have, or we just assume that, like the traffic, people will stop at the red lights or things like that, because traffic can get a little crazy. So always like watch both ways before crossing, and just don't always assume things. Like in the West especially, you might have hospitals that don't have bathrooms and you have to go outside. These kind of things that you might not be used to in U.S., Canada, Europe, etc.
Cool. Actually, I remember even in Taiwan, the traffic can be a bit crazy.
Yeah.
And the zebra crossing is actually in Taiwan. I remember the zebra crossing is more like a suggested place to cross rather than a place where the cars legally must stop.
Right. Exactly.
Probably the same in China. But so last of all, what are the good things about China that people traveling there really shouldn't miss out on?
I would say the best stuff about China is, while it's nice to see the Great Wall and the terracotta soldiers and things like that, I think the best thing to do is really get involved in just like the local life itself, whether it be, shopping at an antique store, or, somebody might just have, carpet on the side of the sidewalk with stuff that he has, don't even know where it came from, and just selling it. And I think that's the best part, is that in the U.S. there's just so many rules with, you have to have permits to sell things, and there's rules on everything you do. But in China, one of the good things is you can have fireworks going off anywhere, Chinese New Year. You could just have a fruit truck parked on the side of the sidewalk, and just, hey, there's some fruit. It's just really nice to have all these unique things, and you can bargain for things. It's just a totally different experience. So I would say get involved in just the everyday things, because those are the things you're going to remember. Not so much the Great Wall and things like that. Those are really great things, but you really want to get involved in just like the local life.
And what would you say is one of the most unique experiences you've had there?
One of the most interesting experiences I had is probably, what to say? I would probably say it's just getting to meet local people that would never really expected to see a foreigner before, and they're really surprised that you might, maybe speak a few, even if it's just a few words in Chinese, they're really happy that you're trying to learn a little bit about them, and that you came to, you know, let's say a remote village instead of the big cities. Like, they're kind of surprised, like, why would you come here? You know, and when you say, oh, I just like it, you know, I like to see the rural, you know, working, you know, how it works. And that's the best part, I would say, is my best experience is when I just interacted with local people, like taxi drivers or farmers or whomever.
That sounds really awesome, Will. Well, thank you very much for speaking with us today. Why don't you just tell our audience just a little bit about your channel on YouTube and what you do?
All right, thanks, man. My channel is Wingwaabuddha. We do kind of a variety of subjects. I have an interest in China, of course, so I do videos about that. Have a lot of videos about culture and politics, too. You might want to check it out. I'm hoping I get a little bit better with time. Do a little bit more editing, I guess, so you should check it out.
Cool. Thanks very much, Will. Well, do check that out, guys. And Will's got a very good playlist called China Culture on his channel, which is very interesting. And we'll see you guys next week.